Romanticism is known to be a notion or philosophy that began as a literary movement between 1770 and 1850. It was a rebellion against the Enlightenment era of the time, which prioritized thought, modernism, and a machine world, whereas Romanticism embraced the importance of the senses, of man's inner harmony in relation to and as a reflection of nature itself. The Romantics believed in what Rousseau called the noble savage, an idealized concept of the uncivilized man, meaning that man is nature, and thus when man alienates himself from nature, he corrupts himself and his inner harmony. Nature connects us to our senses. It affects us through feeling, which is a universal cord that tethers all of humanity, and it allows for empathy, inspiration, and an aim for the idealized self. Romanticism has a few key characteristics which include a focus on the natural state of man, the importance of feeling, and an overall emphasis on individual passions, thoughts, sensations, and imaginations. It upholds the idea that truth can be found internally, not externally, thereby giving power to the individual and individual experience. But you don't need to be a 19th century poet to make use of Romanticism in our modern time. And no, you don't need to go off grid, abandon logic and society as a whole either. There are really simple ways to adopt a romantic mindset that can benefit you and your overall attitude toward life. And while I'm sure everyone can agree that being alive isn't all beauty, that there are truly horrific things happening all around the world and in our individual lives too. Romanticism is a lens to view things honestly, but with an optimistic aim. Tell me, when was the last time you took a walk by yourself in a forest, or a field, or anywhere minimally affected by our modern concrete world? What did you notice? How did you feel? Science itself confirms the benefits of things like forest bathing and earthing. There are documented benefits to surrounding ourselves with the natural world. We too are natural biological beings. Like the earth, we are alive, and it makes complete sense that the natural world reminds us of our own aliveness. Thinking has incredible and necessary benefits, but you cannot think your way into feeling alive. 𝖑𝖎𝖐𝖘, a shadow integration specialist, said that if you are overthinking, then you are probably underfeeling. If we spend too much time thinking, then we are cutting ourselves off from our senses and our own aliveness. And this is the core of the Romantic movement. It is the natural world that reminds us what it's like to feel, to be, to bask in the varied sensations of living, which admittedly doesn't always feel good, because if we are feeling the full spectrum of being alive, then we are becoming vulnerable to feelings of pain, sadness, anger, confusion, as well as feelings of awe, bliss, love, and connection. And so it can be very tempting, in our modern times especially, to escape into the mind or into a screen. But in doing so excessively, we cut ourselves off from our own natural state of being fully embodied and alive. The Romantic mindset aims at idealism, and it seeks out the idealized version of the individual. In other words, what is your best self? What is your ideal version of you dress like, speak like, eat like, handle challenges and conflict like, move like? How does this version of you spend their free time? How do they perform mundane tasks? How do they care for themselves and others? For this, you must do your best to block out external influences. We are constantly bombarded with messaging about how we should be and feel and look. But as I previously stated, a romantic lens seeks the truth of who you are inwardly, through feeling. Carl Jung said to follow that which makes you feel most alive, and it will lead you to God. This is what we want to do here. Tap into that inner aliveness and answer these questions to paint a portrait of the truest, most sensational you. Then you're going to bring that version of you alive and aim to give the very best and truest of yourself to this world, whatever that may be, moment to moment. So, you may be wondering, what is natural man? Well, we are developing beings, from birth until death, just as everything in nature is. I like to say, the nature of nature is evolution. What is alive is always changing. It doesn't matter how old you are. It's never too late to develop ourselves, our skills, our character. Step by step, day by day, with intention and careful aim, we are capable of moving to become our ideal self. Even if we fail, make mistakes, and hurt, we can still build the momentum forward. In fact, it is natural to do so. Just as 𝖑𝖎𝖐𝖘 said, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. You cannot simply decide to be your ideal self overnight. You must become it, patiently, piece by piece, knowing that as you continue to grow, there will always be something new to grow into. Only dead things don't move and don't grow. It is natural to change and grow until death. It helps to remember that you are going to die. It is in fact romantic to be aware of this. Romanticism is tied to mortality. It is the temporary nature of life, of sensation, of everything that makes it romantic. All of life says, look now, this moment will never return again. You better take it in for all it's worth before it's gone. We see how important themes of mortality and decay are within Romanticism when we find it reflected in both romantic poetry as well as the romantic gardens that were being crafted during that time. We saw statues and pavilions specifically made to look as though they were ancient and dwindling, as a reminder of our own natural temporary nature. Nothing is ever permanent. No thought, no feeling, no being. You can prolong certain states, yes, but nothing on earth is eternal. Confronting this fact on a daily basis even can lead you to one of two attitudes. One being existential dread and hopelessness, or on the other hand, the more romantic route, we can choose to bask in gratitude over the utter miracle of being alive on earth temporarily, knowing that this will all end one day, that you yourself will end. It makes every moment that we are alive precious, sacred, and can be an encouragement to make the most of it. Not in the way of needing to become rich and famous, or to go skydiving every day, or to be in a cycle of constantly chasing an adrenaline rush, but rather to make the most of where you are now, here. Romanticism seeks the beauty in the mundane, in cleaning and beautifying your space, in the clothes that you choose, the way they look and feel against your skin, and singing and dancing alone in your room, and sharing coffee with a friend, in your daily work and the way you raise your family. Whatever you do, give it your heart. Feel into it, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. This is the key to romanticism. However, as much as the word romantic holds a connotation of beauty, whimsy, and love, it is so much more than that. To see the world through a romantic lens does not mean that we only notice what is beautiful. In fact, it means to notice what is true. If romanticism is tied to naturalness, and naturalness is tied to what is real, then to be natural means to be honest. Honest about how we feel, about what we see, and what we want. and yet to always keep an aim of optimism tied with a bow on it. If the nature of nature is evolution, then we can assume that whatever is happening can be used to evolve us with the right action and attitude. Which leads me to say that Romanticism isn't just about the observation of our inner state. It's also about how we express that inner state into the outer environment. To create and imprint the world with what is true, beautiful, and inspired. To put into the world the truth and beauty that occurs within you. There is a wonderful quote from the film 𝖑𝖎𝖐𝖘 that says, "When a man lies, he murders some part of the world." This gives us the frame that if we lie, we fracture ourselves, and therefore we fracture the world as a whole. We become missing from ourselves, and we deny the world the truth of who we are and the truth of itself too. So the counterbalance of that is that when we tell the truth to ourselves and to the world, we make ourselves more whole. We defracture. We gift the world more of what it truly is. Idealism is useless without the truth. Idealism without truth is delusion. Idealism with truth is a gateway to a progressive path forward. Simply put, Romanticism is a lens by which to observe ourselves and the world around us in an honest way by the rising of inner sensations, inspirations, and impulses, and to then express those very things as true to their core as possible. In doing so, we redeem the world from its man-made machine ways by imbuing it with what is natural and true. We make the world what we make of ourselves.